Hi, Andy XL back with another daily FIFA 2026 World Cup podcast on day 23. Day 22 saw Switzerland, Portugal, and Spain progress. Portugal and Spain now play each other in the next round. Switzerland await the winner of Ghana and Colombia. I predicted that Switzerland and Spain would win. I had Portugal, Croatia down as a draw, a 1-1 draw for that matter. So that late goal for Portugal denied me 3 out of 3 and a correct score on the day. But I'm still pretty close in terms of my predictions, doing okay. But on to day 23 then. And the first question of the day is, can the Aussies dethrone the Prince of Egypt, or are they set to go down under? For me, Egypt are a team better suited to playing on the counter than having to open up more defensive teams. This was evidenced in their draw with Belgium to open their World Cup campaign, matching the Belgians for shots and shots on target, despite having far less possession. In the middle game of the group schedule, they had more possession than New Zealand, but needed 3 second-half goals to make their superiority tell, which caused me to have a sip of orange juice. In the final game in their group, Egypt once again had the lion's share of possession, but had had to settle for a 1-1 draw. And if you look back through their pre-tournament games, there is clear evidence of performing well against better teams, but not being able to dominate lesser teams as you might expect them to, which make Australia more of a challenge for Egypt than it might be for other teams, than they might be for other teams. The Aussies basically got through the group stage courtesy of a snatch and grab win over a Turkish team that outplayed them, and then getting a goalless draw that suited both teams against Paraguay in their last group game. In between, the USA beat them 2-0 and controlled the game in a similar way to the Turks. Making the question here, can Egypt control the game against as the Turks and the Americans did, but find the cutting edge the US showed, but the Turks failed to? Egypt has struggled to do so in previous such games, and Australia have only conceded more than one goal in 3 of their last 13 games, and a total of just 10. All of which leads me to think this game will be tight and finish 1-1 after 90 minutes. And I also see extra time likely to turn into a stalemate, which sends this game to penalties. Australia have no recent penalty shootouts to form a guideline, but Egypt have missed 4 of 8 penalties in their last 2 shootouts. So I'm going to say the Aussies go through via that method to cause an upset there. And talking of upsets, this would be the upset of upsets. Argentina versus Cape Verde. The romantic tie of the round sees the reigning champions and legendary Messi face the little guys from the coast of Africa, who everybody is falling in love with. But is this love story about to have its last chapter written, or will the story continue? Surely not. Argentina are one of 3 teams that won all of their group games. France and Mexico were the others, and they've gone on to make it 4 from 4. More orange juice required. Argentina scored 8 and conceded 1 in their group games, so has to be seen as one of the favourites to win this tournament. And that's off the back of a qualification round that saw them top the South American group by a clear 9 points, winning 12, drawing 2, and losing 4, scoring 31 and conceding 10. Against the bottom 4 teams in that qualification group, which has relevance towards Cape Verde, Bolivia, Chile, Peru, and Venezuela, they won 7, drew 1, and lost none, scoring 20 and conceding 1 goal. So, barring that single goal conceded to Venezuela, which was the game they drew, they were utterly dominant against weaker teams. And that continued in the group phase of this competition and was also shown in 4 pre tournament friendlies, where they won all 4, scoring 12 and conceding 1. On the evidence of this tournament, it would be very harsh to call Cape Verde a poor team, and indeed their pre-tournament record was not bad. They won 5, drew 4, and lost just 1 of their 10 games prior to the World Cup. But that record, which includes a 4-2 defeat to Chile, who the Argentinians beat twice by an aggregate of 4-0 in qualifying, shows the gap in class between these 2 teams. So, sorry, folks, but the weight of evidence is overwhelming here, and that's what the Argentinians are likely to do to Cape Verde, overwhelm them. The dream run comes to an end here in emphatic fashion as Argentina run out 4 or 5-0 winners. Colombia versus Ghana is the last game of the night and the last game of this round, which sees 2 teams going under the radar seek to become a blip on the last 16 screen, whether it would beat Switzerland. So, whilst I like Switzerland, the quarterfinals are definitely achievable for the winner of this tie. But who will it be? As I said regarding Switzerland and Algeria when they met, these two teams here meet are going to who play to meet one of them, so to meet Switzerland in the round of 16 from a quarter that nobody is talking about, but from which a quarter finalist must come. So what I'm saying there in my fumble through that paragraph is that one of Ghana, Colombia, and Switzerland are going to be in the quarterfinals, but nobody's really talking about any of them. Ghana have shown their hand in that they are going to defend deep and counter-attack, but against England in particular, where they could have won that game on the counter, it could well have had a penalty. They have shown how well they can play that hand. Colombia came through South American qualification, winning 7, drawing 7, and losing 4 of their 18 games, scoring 28 and conceding 18. So they're not like Ecuador and Paraguay and relying on a rock-solid defence to get them wins, and will go at teams. So with them likely to do likewise against Ghana, the question of who wins this game is quite simple. Can they break down Ghana's defence, and will Ghana be able to catch them on the counter to get the win? In qualifying, Colombia were very good at home, winning 5, drawing 3, and losing just 1, and were generally good against the 4 bottom teams from that qualifying group. But away from home against those 4 teams, which essentially, let's call this an away game, it's a neutral venue. They won 1, drew 1, and drew 2, and lost 1. And if we look at their 4 games against the defensive walls of Ecuador and Paraguay, in those 4 games, they won 1, drew 2, lost 1, scoring 3, conceding 3. So the conclusion from those looking at those games is that a 50-50 in circumstances where they need to defeat teams who defend against them and look to counter, which, given the bookmakers make Colombia very strong favourites to qualify from the round of 32, and indeed to do so in 90 minutes, is not a conclusion I agree with. I'm not saying they're not favourites, but they're not the overwhelming favourites that the bookmakers are making them, in my opinion. And given the age of this Colombian squad, I would certainly not rule out Ghana catching them on the counter with pace to nick the win. This certainly has a look of a low scoring affair, but I do think Ghana can or will score in 90 minutes. So as with the Australia game earlier, I'll say this ends in a 1-1 draw. And given the bookmakers make it roughly 80-20 in Colombia's favour to qualify, I would have to side with Ghana to find a way via extra time or penalties, as I see it as being far closer to a 50-50 situation. So that's the final day of the round of 32 games looked at. Tomorrow, I'll do my wrap up of this round, and also look forward to the first 2 games on the round of 16. But they'll probably be in separate pods. So look forward to them tomorrow. See you later.